story begins with a terrifying vision of the future. The Otsutsuki clan has descended, leaving the entire Shinobi world in ruins. Konoha is nothing but a pile of ash. Hinata, the children, and all of Naruto's comrades have been slaughtered. At the edge of death, an ancient device called Karasuki activates, sending Naruto back through the fabric of time. When Naruto opens his eyes, he finds himself in his younger body. He is at the exact moment Nagato was about to destroy the leaf. He realizes that to save the future, he must rewrite history. He must correct the greatest mistakes of the past and unite the most powerful legends the world has ever known. In just a few years, Naruto masters the Six Paths power. Using his knowledge of the future, he begins to manipulate history like a master architect. First, Obito Uchiha. Accepting Obito's redemption, Naruto uses the power of Kamui as his ultimate secret base and tactical advantage. Next, the legends themselves. He revives Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju. Madara's pride and Hashirama's raw strength are now united to protect the world. And finally, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Instead of fighting her, Naruto liberates her as his most powerful ally against the coming clan. Through 20 years of absolute peace, Naruto has evolved. He has become the most powerful force in existence. But now, the true war begins. Seeing that face again, Naruto's knuckles turned white as he clenched his fists. Suppressing a wave of pure venom, he looked Ishiki Otsutsuki dead in the eye and asked, "Tell me, monster, how much time do you have left to dance in that body?" Ishiki didn't flinch. His voice was cold, filled with divine arrogance. "Time is irrelevant now. I've already chosen my ultimate vessel, and it's going to be your body, Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto let out a dark, mocking laugh. In a literal blink, he vanished, reappearing directly behind the Otsutsuki god. Ishiki spun with lightning reflexes, throwing a heavy punch. When their fists collided, the shockwave was so massive, it felt like the entire ninja world was shuddering under the pressure. For a few agonizing seconds, they were locked in a stalemate of pure strength. Then Ishiki triggered his Daikokuten to end it. But it was like Naruto was reading Ishiki's playbook before the pages were even turned. He ducked with surgical precision, the microscopic black receivers whistling past his hair. Ishiki tried to transition into a lethal kick, but Naruto parried it like it was amateur hour. Frustrated, Ishiki was forced to shrink himself just to escape Naruto's counter-offensive. He reappeared a distance away, his face contorted in rage as he summoned the heavy artillery of Daikokuten. Huge black cubes began falling from the sky, aiming to crush Naruto into the dirt. Naruto looked up at the falling monoliths and roared, activating the 80 Gods vacuum attack. Countless fists made of pure, shimmering chakra slammed into the cubes. One by one, the massive stones were blasted backward into the sky. Ishiki's composure finally broke. "Impossible. That is a high-level secret art of my clan. How can a mere human possess such a technique?" Naruto smirked. "If you're so interested, maybe I can give you a private lesson." He launched the vacuum attack directly at Ishiki. The god tried to weave through the barrage, but Naruto's strikes were too fast and too numerous. A series of heavy thuds echoed as the chakra fists connected, drawing blood from Ishiki's mouth. Ishiki wiped the blood away, his eyes glowing with fury. "You're mocking me. That wasn't the secret technique at all. Those were just high-speed chakra punches." Naruto rubbed the back of his head, looking a bit sheepish. He had always thought that specific name sounded cool and wanted to try it out. Whether it was taijutsu or ocular powers, Ishiki couldn't find a single opening in Naruto's defense. The biggest problem was Naruto's sensory ability. He could feel Ishiki's malicious intent before the move was even made. To counter this, Ishiki deployed a massive web of cubes all around the battlefield. These stones weren't just heavy, they acted as a sensory blackout, jamming any ability to track a target. With the field obscured, Ishiki dropped another gargantuan cube directly onto Naruto's head. Naruto didn't move. He manifested massive chakra arms and caught the falling mountain in midair. In terms of raw chakra volume, this Naruto was officially more powerful than his previous Baryon mode. The only difference was that his hits didn't drain the enemy's lifespan yet. Naruto predicted the play. Ishiki was using the cubes as a diversion for a sneak attack. Sure enough, Ishiki shrunk himself to a microscopic level, gliding through the air to close the distance for a killing blow. But Naruto had spent every waking hour since his rebirth planning for this exact moment. Before Ishiki could strike, Naruto expanded his truth-seeking orbs, coating his entire skin in a thin, impenetrable layer of black protective armor. At this point, all Naruto had to do was guard his eyes. Ishiki launched a volley of microscopic black receivers from the shadows, but they stood zero chance against the absolute defense of the truth-seeking orb armor-coating Naruto's skin. Each rod simply pinged off his body like pebbles hitting a mountain. Fuming with rage, Ishiki manifested a full-sized rod and lunged, but Naruto caught the weapon with one hand. With the other, he unleashed a localized barrage of punches so violent that the god was forced to retreat just to keep his physical form from shattering. Seeing the gap in power, Ishiki tried a different tactic, temptation. He warned Naruto that the Otsutsuki clan had warriors far more monstrous than himself or Kaguya. He offered a deal. If Naruto became his vessel, he would grant him a seat among the gods and spare the earth. Naruto's response was cold and filled with venom. I don't need your charity. Peace isn't something you beg for, it's something you take. I don't care who comes next. All I know is that today your story ends. As Naruto's killing intent flared, the sky fractured with lightning, and a massive storm rolled in. The Otsutsuki had taken everything from him in the future. He made a silent vow. If they didn't come to Earth to face him, he would hunt every single one of them across the stars until the clan was extinct. Realizing the talk was over, Ishiki took to the sky. He waved his hand, summoning a literal rain of black receivers. It was a saturation attack. Every square inch of the battlefield was targeted. There was nowhere to hide. Naruto struggled to maintain a localized shield above him, and for a moment it looked like he was pinned down. Then the trap sprung. A portal ripped open directly behind Naruto. Ishiki blurred out of the rift with godlike speed, his hand clamping around Naruto's throat. The black ink of the karma began to spread rapidly across Naruto's neck. Ishiki let out a triumphant, manic laugh. He thought even if his current body burned out, he had just secured his rebirth through the strongest shinobi in history. But then Naruto smiled. The Naruto in Ishiki's grip vanished in a cloud of white smoke, a shadow clone. Ishiki looked down to see a tunnel entrance in the dirt under the cover of his own shield. The real Naruto had swapped with a clone and vanished underground. The god stood frozen, unable to process that he, a celestial being, had been outplayed by a primitive substitution. The ground beneath Ishiki exploded. Hundreds of Naruto clones surged out of the tunnels, each one wielding a massive Rasengan. The sheer scale of the ambush left Ishiki paralyzed. He couldn't believe Naruto had prepped an attack of this magnitude in total silence. The clones swarmed, surrounding him in a sphere of blue light. Ishiki tried to absorb what he could and shrink the rest with Sukuna Hikona, but Naruto stayed calm. Every power has a limit, and the hard counter to Ishiki's ocular hacks was the pure numbers game of the shadow clone jutsu. The relentless multi-directional pressure finally broke Ishiki's concentration. He collapsed to his knees, clutching his bleeding right eye in agony as the Rasengans began to connect, one after another, grinding into his flesh. The moment the energy blasts subsided, Naruto triggered the Uzumaki 5000 combo. Thousands of clones delivered a coordinated high-speed execution that left Ishiki's body a broken wreck. For the final touch, Naruto slammed a magnet-style Rasengan into the god's chest, sealing his movements and pinning his half-dead body to the crater floor. In the mental plane, Naruto and Kurama shared a look and bumped fists. The debt was paid. Naruto had officially rewritten history and saved his partner from the fate that had once destroyed them both. But he wasn't finished. He grabbed the broken Ishiki by the hair, preparing to teleport back to the Hidden Rain village. It was time for the final act, feeding the god to the 10 tails. Naruto, Sasuke, Obito, Madara, and Kaguya surrounded the containment site. Sensing the presence of elite prey, the 10 tails let out a blood-curdling roar, its singular eye locking onto the broken, half-dead body of Ishiki Otsutsuki lying in the dirt. Kaguya stepped forward, her voice dropping to a sub-zero chill. She commanded the beast to be silent, promising it a royal feast. Without a shred of hesitation, she hoisted Ishiki and hurled him directly into the monster's gaping maw. In his final seconds of life, Ishiki's consciousness flickered back. He looked at Kaguya and Naruto with absolute shock, whispering a ragged question. So this is your true play? Ishiki was haunted by a singular thought. Who could have possibly destroyed Naruto's future so thoroughly that the Hokage was willing to take a gamble this insane? When Naruto finally spoke the name Shibai Otsutsuki, the color drained from Ishiki's face. Then Ishiki began to laugh like a madman. He could finally fathom the hell Naruto had crawled out of. You're lucky, Ishiki wheezed, that you never crossed paths with the other one. If you had, you wouldn't even have been granted the mercy of a rebirth. A strange spark flickered in Naruto's eyes, but his voice remained steady. This time, I'm the one writing the script. As the beast's jaws began to close, Ishiki shrieked his final curse. Naruto, you who dares to touch divine power, and Kaguya, you traitor to your blood, he will never forgive you. With that scream, the 10 tails swallowed the god whole. Immediately, a deep crimson chakra exploded across the beast's hide. As it evolved, it snapped Obito's black receivers like they were dry twigs. The pressure radiating from the creature was suffocating. This thing was already leagues more powerful than the 10 tails from the previous Great War. The monster unhinged its jaw to charge a localized, world-ending tailed beast bomb. But Naruto wove hand signs, triggering his new wood-style mastery. Massive obsidian black timber plume emitted from the sky, impaling the beast and pinning it into the bedrock. Madara stood frozen, black wood style. He never imagined a technique existed that could eclipse his own legendary arsenal so effortlessly. Naruto lowered his hands, his voice radiating absolute confidence. It's not going anywhere. Once the beast had fully processed Ishiki's essence, Kaguya ascended into the air above it, chanting an ancient, forbidden Otsutsuki mantra. She compressed the creature's entire existence into a single shimmering chakra fruit. The question of who would consume it was already settled: Naruto. But before handing it over, Kaguya issued a lethal warning. If Naruto's will wavered for even a microsecond, the beast's consciousness would devour his mind, leaving him a hollow shell, driven only by an eternal hunger for chakra. Naruto took the glowing red-veined fruit into his hands and fell into a deep silence. Memories of the future war flashed before his eyes. The helplessness of the shinobi world, the screams of his friends, and the horrific sight of Hinata's body being impaled by those merciless roots flickered behind Naruto's eyelids. He knew the cold truth. If Sasuke hadn't sacrificed everything to teleport him away at the end of that future great war, he wouldn't even be standing here today. Sasuke stepped forward, his hand reaching out to stop him. Naruto, don't do it. Put the fruit down. We can find another way to delete the Otsutsuki without you crossing this line. But Naruto's mind was a fortress of absolute resolve. He knew the monsters waiting in the stars. To kill a god, you have to become something even more terrifying. I'm sorry, Sasuke, Naruto whispered, his voice steady. This time, I'm carrying the entire weight of this world on my own shoulders. With one swift motion, Naruto consumed the chakra fruit. The reaction was instantaneous and violent. Naruto's face contorted in a scream of pure agony as his chakra began to boil like molten lava inside his veins. A third eye began to tear through the skin of his forehead, and the black ink of the karma spider webbed across his entire body with unnatural speed deep within his mental plane. Even Kurama was caught off guard, suddenly pinned down by massive crimson chains of energy. Kurama roared in warning, "Naruto, wake up, something is very wrong here." A tidal wave of the Ten Tails' jagged purple chakra surged through Naruto's mind, dragging his consciousness into a bottomless abyss. Naruto stumbled back, his voice cracking into a distorted guttural growl. Who are you? What is this power?" In a final moment of clarity, he screamed at Sasuke and the others to run, to get as far away from him as possible. But the warning came too late. Naruto's hand blurred, manifesting a massive pitch-black Rasengan that hummed with world-ending frequency. He hurled it straight at Sasuke. Sasuke, Madara, and the others combined their defensive hacks to barely deflect the blast, the shockwave nearly leveling the surrounding area. They screamed his name, trying to reach the man inside, but the Naruto they knew was gone. Standing before them was a hollowed-out god. The warmth in his eyes had been replaced by a lethal, predatory hunger, and a hatred so deep it felt like it could swallow the sun. Sasuke roared, his voice cracking with desperation. Naruto, snap out of it, fight it. But it was useless. Naruto was no longer behind the wheel. The primal, ravenous will of the Ten Tails had completely hijacked his nervous system. Before anyone could react, Madara's Susanoo erupted from the earth, towering over the battlefield. He didn't hesitate, swinging his twin ethereal blades in a crosscut to pin the uncontrolled Naruto down. But as the blades descended, two massive chakra arms tore out of Naruto's back, catching the Susanoo's steel in midair. To Madara's horror, his blades began to glow and liquefy. Naruto's new Otsutsuki physiology was literally eating the Susanoo's energy on contact. Kaguya activated her Byakugan, her veins bulging as she tracked the cellular carnage inside Naruto. The fruit wasn't just giving him power, it was rewriting his DNA, forcibly evolving his human frame into a pure-blood Otsutsuki. Suddenly, Dark Naruto launched himself forward with predatory speed. His chakra arms lashed out like vipers, ensnaring Sasuke, Madara, and the others in a crushing grip. The Dark Siphon activated instantly, and the legendary warriors felt their life force being ripped out of their bodies and funneled directly into Naruto's core, deep within the mental plane. Past the cage where Kurama strained against his crimson chains, the real Naruto was locked in a psychological deathmatch with the Ten Tails consciousness. Naruto bared his teeth, screaming for the beast to let his friends go. In response, the swirling mass of shadows before him condensed into a humanoid shape, the face of Jura. This was the sentient ego of the Ten Tails, but Naruto's blood ran cold when he spotted that flicker of Ishiki Otsutsuki's malice burning in the creature's eyes. Jura let out a mocking laugh that echoed through the void. "Your little plan backfired, Naruto. You didn't consume the power. We consumed you." From his chains, Kurama barked a final desperate instruction. "Naruto, listen. To win this, you have to beat him in here. No help from me and no Six Paths power. You're officially on your own. In a normal Jinchuriki transformation, the goal is to pull the beast's chakra away from its will. But the Ten Tails, that's a different breed. Naruto had to pull off a surgical strike on the beast's consciousness, severing its ego from its power entirely. If he pulled this off, Kurama could devour the headless power of the Ten Tails, making Naruto the world's first perfect 10 tails Jinchuriki. Naruto felt his hands trembling, but he forced them into fists, locking in. He looked at Kurama with a sharp, determined glint in his eyes. Just hold on, partner. I'm about to put this monster in the dirt. Back in the physical world, the life-draining grip on Sasuke and the others suddenly snapped. Sasuke gasped for air, realizing Naruto had finally initiated the internal battle. They were free, but the celebration was short-lived. The earth began to fracture for miles, and the mountains themselves started to crumble under the sheer weight of the aura leaking from Naruto's evolving body. The overtaken Naruto suddenly lashed out, firing 8 black receivers in all directions. He slammed his hands together, weaving signs at a speed the human eye couldn't track. 6 paths, 8 directions, spiral formation. In an instant, a deep crimson barrier erupted, trapping Sasuke, Madara, Obito, and Kaguya inside. This wasn't just a cage, it was a hydraulic press of pure energy slowly shrinking to crush everything within its walls. Naruto wove another set of signs, and the ground for kilometers beneath the barrier transformed into a boiling obsidian mire. 6 paths, sage, art, underworld, swamp. Sasuke watched in horror as the sludge bubbled up. He couldn't wrap his head around how Naruto had mastered such high-tier complex jutsu in a matter of seconds. Obito let out a grim, helpless laugh. Is this what they mean? Be a hero and you're capped, but go dark and your power triples? As Naruto's Otsutsuki transformation accelerated, techniques that were once impossible for him became second nature, just as Madara had effortlessly manifested Storm-style Light Fang after becoming the 10 tails Jinchuriki. The walls were closing in and the boiling swamp was rising fast, nearly swallowing the legendary Shinobi. Obito tried to trigger Kamui to warp them out, but he hit a wall. The barrier was a total blackout zone. Space-time jutsu was being neutralized. Even Kaguya's interdimensional powers were glitching out. They threw everything at the walls. Madara and Sasuke combined their Susanoo blades, striking with enough force to level a continent, but the barrier didn't even flicker. Seeing no other choice, Kaguya grabbed Sasuke. I have to awaken the dormant divine essence of Indra within your blood, she commanded. She slammed her palm onto Sasuke's back, flooding his system with pure, unrefined Otsutsuki chakra. The phantom of Indra surged behind Sasuke, and with Kaguya's energy acting as a catalyst, he manifested the ultimate 6 paths, Susanoo. The power was intoxicating. Sasuke notched an arrow made of pure catastrophe. Obito added the warping properties of Kamui to the tip, and Sasuke roared the name of the attack, X-Paths, Great Dark Sky Arrow. The arrow collided with the barrier, finally tearing a jagged rift in the crimson energy. The team scrambled through the gap just as the barrier sealed itself shut again. Sasuke looked back at the shrinking cage and felt a knot in his chest. He finally understood Naruto's true play. Naruto had created the barrier to contain his own rampaging body, acting as a failsafe to protect his friends. He knew Sasuke and the others had the combined power to break out. With them safe on the outside, Naruto could finally stop holding back the monster. He could dive 100% into his mental world to kill Jura without worrying about collateral damage. Sasuke grit his teeth, whispering into the wind, Naruto, don't you dare die! Deep within the mental plane, Naruto felt the shift. He knew his friends were clear. He exhaled a breath of relief, then pointed a finger directly at Jura. Now it's just us, Naruto growled, his eyes burning with resolve. Time to settle the bill with interest. Naruto didn't hesitate. He instantly manifested dozens of shadow clones. It was his oldest tactical reflex, using clones to map out an enemy's speed reach and hidden hacks before committing the real body. Under the malicious influence of Ishiki, Otsutsuki Jura ground his teeth in fury. He didn't just stand there. 10 divine roots erupted from his back, each one twisting and molding itself into the shapes of the people this beast had devoured across timelines. The 2 armies of clones collided in a chaotic explosion of taijutsu, but Jura's copies weren't just physical. They began unleashing a barrage of forbidden world-ending jutsu that started shredding Naruto's frontline. Naruto bit his thumb, drawing blood, and slammed his palm into the mental floor. Goju Rashomon. 5 titanic demonic gates shot up, tanking the full force of the forbidden techniques. Before the smoke could even clear, dozens of golden adamantine sealing chains whipped out from behind the gates. This was Kushina Uzumaki's signature move, the ultimate hard counter for binding tailed beasts. The golden chains of Naruto and the dark energy of Jura became a tangled cyclone of spiritual force. Jura lunged forward, trying to drag Naruto's consciousness into the lightless abyss of the 10 tails ego. He wanted total possession, but Naruto held the line. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was carrying the survival of the entire ninja world on his back. His objective was surgical: sever the beast's ego so Kurama could claim the throne of the 10 tails power. However, the battlefield shifted. Jura's confidence wasn't just bluster. As the beast's consciousness closed in, Naruto's mind suddenly went numb. A thick, suffocating fog rolled over his senses, the first sign that the creature was beginning to consume him from the inside out. This wasn't just hatred like the old Kurama. This was a divine, ancient malice that far exceeded human human endurance. Horrific visions began to tear through Naruto's mind. He saw the blood-soaked night his parents died. He saw Hinata being impaled by pain over and over again. He saw the future Shibai Otsutsuki floating above a scorched, silent earth, a graveyard of everything Naruto ever loved. The old feelings of helplessness, the crushing weight of failing his friends, and the despair of watching them die one by one flooded his nervous system. Naruto collapsed to his knees, clutching his head as the mental agony peaked. Jura's voice echoed through the void, mocking him. "Your bonds are nothing but chains you use to lie to yourself. Naruto Uzumaki, you are alone." Naruto's consciousness began to drift, being sucked toward Jura's darkness. He tried to fight, but his will was fraying. In the distance, the chained Kurama was screaming at the top of his lungs for Naruto to wake up, but the sound was being swallowed by the void. The black ink of the karma began to crawl across Naruto's mental form, binding him tight. It looked like the end. The void was closing in, and Naruto's light was flickering out into total darkness. But then, a familiar gravelly voice echoed through the silence of his mind. "Giving up already? That doesn't sound like the kid I know, Naruto." It was Jiraiya. Then came Iruka's voice. One by one, the voices of Team 7 Hinata, his friends from Konoha, and the echoes of Boruto and Himawari began to resonate. Even the complex bonds he shared with Obito and Madara started to shimmer like droplets of pure light piercing through the suffocating gloom. The abyss didn't just vanish, it exploded into a blinding radiance. Naruto opened his eyes and smirked. He looked back at the chained Kurama and gave a small apology for making him worry. Seeing his victory slip away, Jura let out a feral roar, screaming that these weak emotions were nothing but a path to ruin. Naruto wove his signs, his expression calm and focused. "That's the one thing you Otsutsuki will never understand," he said. He unleashed a massive multi-shadow clone jutsu. Thousands of clones manifested within the mental plane, grabbing onto the chakra chains and pulling with everything they had. The tide turned instantly. With one final monumental surge of will, Naruto ripped the Ten Tails ego clean away from its power. Naruto didn't hesitate. He triggered a high-level sealing jutsu, dragging Jura's consciousness into the deepest, darkest corner of his mind and locking it behind an unbreakable gate. With the ego removed, the colossal flood of divine Ten Tails chakra began to pour into Naruto, merging perfectly with Kurama. The fox began to grow and shift. He was no longer just the Nine Tails. He was evolving into a celestial entity of unimaginable scale. Naruto and Kurama looked at each other and shared a grin. The transformation was complete. Naruto had officially become the world's first perfect Ten Tails Jinchuriki. As Naruto reached out and bumped fists with the massive fox, a memory from the previous timeline surfaced. The moment Kurama's life force had flickered out, leaving Naruto weeping and helpless. He couldn't save his partner then, but today he held the power to protect everyone. In the physical world, the 8-direction spiral formation barrier began to crack and dissolve into golden dust. Sasuke exhaled a long breath of relief, a rare smile touching his lips. "Looks like that idiot actually pulled it off." Standing in the center of the clearing, Naruto remained. He was draped in a new divine aura, his presence so heavy it commanded the very air to go still. Looking at him, it was clear the fate of the ninja world had just been rewritten by a god. Naruto looked down at his hands. It wasn't just the sun seal on his right palm anymore. The moon seal had also manifested on his left. His golden chakra cloak had transcended, shifting into a brilliant, ethereal, milky white radiance. Obito and Madara approached him, staring in absolute awe. Both had once been the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, but the entity standing before them was something entirely different, something leagues beyond their past forms. Sasuke stepped forward with a rare, knowing smirk. "It's because Naruto is a perfect Jinchuriki. Unlike you two, he doesn't have to waste a single drop of mental energy suppressing the beast. Kurama is his partner. They are one." To test his new divinity, Naruto clasped his hands. 6 paths, realm, rebirth. A beam of divine light shot from the third eye on his forehead. The desolate, swampy wasteland beneath them, rotted by the earlier battle, was instantly purified, blooming back into a lush green landscape in a matter of seconds. The group stood in stunned silence at the sheer scale of his creation-level power.